actually on evaluating and measuring the customer value, which is the most difficult part because that I term it as an intangible asset. It is absolutely an asset, but that asset, neither you can track it, nor you can predict it, nor you can draw a trend of it because there is that factor of intangibility associated with that. So with that, I thought that this is one of the areas which probably you see maybe of putting the last first, and after that somebody wrote putting the first, and then somebody wrote that you see putting everything first. But the more important issue is that you see how do you put the customer first to know what exactly he wants. Are we developing our entire industry? Are we developing our entire business proposition as we like or as the person who is having the purchasing power he likes? So, this is a very critical issue, but the thing is that there's a very sensitive issue at the same time. Where we need to understand that if the customer feels that he can get associated with the product gets accepted. Otherwise, the product may be having a very high technical feasibility, technical viability, but it may not be accepted on the face value. So this is one of the critical issues, and over a period of time I was writing on the mathematical description of how really you are going to define the customer value and how you are going to measure the customer value. And this measuring the customer value in reference to optimizing the profit of the source. And a couple of my papers were published in international journals on these issues, and probably you see there has been a good response of the readers and the critics and particularly the critics, the analysts who have analyzed the entire mathematical econometric propositions that I have given, but you see that for this particular session, we are going to have a couple of issues like the customer value. What exactly is the customer value? Nowadays, what I am observing on the other part of the world, that is in the western part of the world, is that you see most of the companies, they first think of a customer and they would prefer to retain a customer rather than prospecting at random to get a short profit. If you are going to get a short-term profit, probably there are high chances that if you over a period of time you may lose that customer, but if you lose a customer, then it is very difficult to regain the customer. In my entire presentation, just to develop the brand. Just to build the brand, they are trying to architect the brand. Right, so if we architect the building, nowadays the phenomenon is that you architect the brand, and that is called the brand architecture. We have a variety of the branding decisions, maybe a mother brand, maybe a shadow branding, maybe nominated brand, maybe endorsed brand, variety of that. So in every part we are going to talk about the customer value. Well, my dear friends, I will skip this introduction because being a professor, if I talk for a long time because in Mexico I spend that 5 hours session at this place. So I don't want to tax you to that level, and therefore I will straight away come to the business issue. Now here, the first issue is that we are talking about what exactly is the value. The value is basically a series of activities. In fact, you see we talk about a principle, and there is exactly an equation whenever we talk about the management, the marketing in a scientific sense. That we call it as 2A's. I don't have the board here anyway, you see that makes me more thick here. If the board is there, then you see you have to think for more time. That's one good thing that you see, make have to be not put here. Now, the issue here is that we talk about 2A's and 2C's. The first A is for the awareness. The second A I will talk about later. But I will talk in a sequence. Awareness, comprehension. We have to talk about the comprehension. Give the consumers the both sides value. The positive value and the negative value. Don't just say that my company is always on the top. If you say your company is always on the top, obviously if the consumer is more curious, he is going to find out what is behind the smile. If somebody finds what is behind the smile, then it will probably be a big issue for the company to handle for a period of time. So therefore, the comprehension should be both positive and negative. Then you see coming to the other issue is that about the conviction, which is the most difficult part. You may provide awareness. You may tell that you see all good things about the company. You may tell all, provide all the information to the customer. You may provide the comprehension of the product, comprehension of the process. But ultimately the issue is that whether the consumer makes an inclination after listening to all this, the awareness and the comprehension process for quite a long time. If the customer doesn't make any kind of conviction, then you see that is an inclination. He makes up his mind, and then the last stage is the action. The action is physically he goes and he buys the product, and that is exactly the realization of the stage which the company should take care of. So now there's two is quite important. Now what happens when you see we emphasize more on the first A and first B, the awareness and comprehension. We don't bring the consumer to the conviction, because the conviction is the stage where you see the consumer needs an endorsement. And who endorses? The most prolific endorser for a customer is a fellow customer. If a fellow customer says that you see, well, I have used it, and therefore you see, probably I got the satisfaction. So you see, a fellow customer is a greater source for the prospective customer to really think of making a decision towards the product. And then lastly coming to an action. If the action doesn't take place, whatever our advertisement, whatever our communication, our media, our entire proliferation of the information has no value because it doesn't register in the mind. I always talk about the two things in the human mind. One is the back of the mind and another is the top of the mind. The back of the mind, I call it as the valve house. Because whatever we observe for 18 hours, probably you think we are sleeping for about 6 hours. So you see about 18 hours in a day, whatever we are observing, everything goes to the back of the mind, but you see only specific things you remember when you take to go to the bed. And that particular issue are the top of the mind issue. So the customer values are so important that you see they should always rise on the head, and that is the top of the mind. Now, the other issue here is that it is the perception and the prescription. The prescription is given by the company, but the perception is derived by the customer. I can say that if my product is best fit for this particular cause, but if you let the customer think that, if the customer feels that you see really the prescription and the perception has a congruence, has a similarity, then obviously he is going to be the first person to really endorse that you see there is no other product better than this for his use. And that is the full effect. The first one is the push effect, where you see all the companies try to push their product, but the thing is not just pushing, how long they are going to push. If there is somebody who is going to pull the product, obviously you see, that makes the entire corporate effort relaxed and confident to really penetrate and sustain the market. Penetrating is not exactly a success. You may penetrate, but you see you may collapse over the day. But after penetration, the more difficult part is that you see how you are going to sustain. The company is to push a product. Push a product through advertisement, through price, through quality factors and non-price factors, but any kind of devices, any kind of mechanisms they can push. But the important issue is that whether they can sustain. If they can sustain, that really gives up the value, that nurtures the value of the customer. So, we have a There is another issue that if you look at the value paradigm, and the entire value paradigm, the first important issue is about the perception. Now, the important issue is that suddenly there may be one mail or some incentive saying that, that is a new offer from the business side. So this is one thing where we are going to tackle the customers on a lifetime management. That is, we are not allowing the customers to forget about it. Always putting the customer in front of our strategy is making the customer first. This is one of the global dynamics. Most of the multi-domestic companies, most of the transnational companies, they are following the same strategy. They always put, this is your value and we are after your value. And if the company prepares and starts strategy with that particular angle, the customer gets involved with that, and therefore he doesn't have an easy escape. Though you see, he will not like the product, but at the same time, he is not going to talk against the product. Now here, in this particular slide, I was talking about if the customer is not properly maintained, if the customer is not properly given a lifetime value of management, there are all chances that he is going to switch. If he is going to switch, the most difficult part is the last part, what I have written here, about the exit voice loyalty. Now, exit voice loyalty is this is called as the EVL factor. The EVL factor is that if the exit is switching the brand, voice is that if he talking openly about his experience, his perception towards the product, what he has been associated with, and the loyalty factor is that whether he talks about the product loyalty, whether he talks about the brand loyalty, and if he talks about the brand loyalty, does he make a demarcation that you see which is good brand, which is bad brand, and if he just says that if he likes this brand. And this is the most important factor, the exit voice loyalty. And therefore, see, very important it also goes not only with the customers but also with the salesperson. Nowadays what is happening is because I also teach the advanced selling systems. So one of the concepts which has been developed very recently in the past, in the West, is that they always find that retrenching a salesperson or asking a salesperson to leave is a very, very awful strategy. Because they count that salesman or a sales representative or a sales executive or whichever position that particular gentleman is in the sales department, he holds just not a position, but he holds the market share. When he leaves the company, he takes a certain portion of the market share along with him. And that portion cannot be recovered back because that is highly personalized. And therefore, what I'm talking here about, that is about the customer value, we are having a very good example of the personalized customer value and the system-oriented value. If you are going for a system-oriented customer value, probably it is very hard to make it up. And it's not only the case in India, but even in the West, even in America, even in Canada, even in Mexico City, even in Europe, I found that you see, though we see that everything is system-oriented, system-generated response. But the thing is that the customers are not really happy with that. I will give you an example of the HSBC Bank in Mexico. The HSBC Bank in Mexico, what happens is that if you have to make any suggestions, if you have to make any complaints, no individual person is responsible for that. Nobody takes the responsibility. They don't give you even the contact person's address. They say, go to the net, and on the net, you post whatever statement you want to post it. And ultimately, you see what happens once you have posted. In the sense, your involvement is already being shown. You have already expressed yourself. Once you have expressed yourself, you always look for a response. And if the system is going to respond to you in a very, very formal manner, probably you will feel somewhat out of place. You will not really get satisfied of it. Suppose you are writing a complaint against the credit card, saying there is, this particular credit card, whatever the process is, then you are not expressing yourself to your dissatisfaction. And And after 4 days, a system response mail comes to you, and the bottom line is that this is a system generated as a response, please do not reply to them. What do you do? You say everything, you get frustrated. You will further, you say, aggravate your entire tension. Your stress increases. The reason here is that the more important factor is that the personal, the response, the personal inclination to the customer does make a difference than the system orientation. Here in India, I don't know that in particularly a couple of scheduled commercial banks, you have still a personal orientation. You can go and meet the branch manager, you can shout on him. Therefore, you can advise him, you can suggest him, you can do whatever you want. So there are a couple of banks, like those high technology banks. It's good to have the technology, but at the same time, we need to have the culture to adapt to it. It's not only in India, it's even abroad. I'm telling you that this is not a very common phenomenon because everybody gets satisfied with the system generated system. So that kills the value. That kills the customer value. Now here, probably if you are going to lodge a complaint to ITESM, then they will say that you will write on the net. And after that, even they don't mention your name. They will say, dear son. Don't you think you might have written your name and address and everything, but you see the system has generated responses that you say, dear son. How do you feel that you say it? Saying that, I have written my name, but this guy has no courtesy to mention my name while he is writing the deed. So that makes quite a difference. And therefore, we are talking about the couple of issues like this is the value governance, which are the factors that govern the value. So this is the fourth piece. Probably you see if you have the management literature, if you have read the management literature, particularly if in the marketing, you might be aware of the 4 P's, which is a very traditional 4 P's, about the product, price, place, and promotion. But now, that has been extended. Now you see there are a couple of other things, like you see the packaging. The things, faces the dynamics, making the rival out of things is one of the factors. How do you make a rival out of the thing? You will make it once you see the rival has no scope to capture your customer. And that is possible only when you develop values and values are trusted to the customer. Then the other one is about the people. The people is that what I was talking to you always about the personal approach and the system-generated approach. System-generated approach is very good because you are eliminating the biases. There is no bias against anybody, neither from the customer to the company, nor the company to customer. But system-generated responses should have an easy compatibility with the perception of the customer. Otherwise, the customer feel out of place many times. Then if we come into the other issue is about the psychodynamics. There is also a very strong factor in the Western field. Psychodynamics is that you see if the 10 people are oriented towards one product, the 11th person is also attracted towards it. In a sense, you are not really investing in promotion. You are not investing in advertisement. But if you are putting the referrals, you are consolidating the referrals so that a person looks at you see there are 10 referrals so that he convinces himself that if when there are 10 referrals, obviously the product is going to be good and he gets attracted to that particular pool and he tries to make the decision towards the product. Then coming to this is a very new topic, very new subject that has been emerged in the marketing, particularly in measuring the customer values, is about the psychodynamics. Then coming to the 9 4A's, particularly you see the accessibility, approachability, adaptability, affordability. The issue is that I'm talking about the affordability. Technology may be very good, but the thing is that it should be affordable. It should be adaptable. The customer doesn't feel comfortable with lodging his criticism, lodging his suggestions on the system to get a response from the system, probably he will feel not comfortable and he is going to switch over from that particular branch to another branch. So you see about the convenience. So here, see the fourth key is the most important factor, the congruence, and the congruence is the similarity. What he thinks, what you provide. In other words, what company provides, and what company prescribes, and what he perceives. If the perception is stronger than the prescription, obviously you see that particular value is going to be more stronger in the mind of the person. Then coming to the issue about the extrinsic one, where you see you are having the incentive, but the more important one is about the cost marketing. I do not know that in India how fairly it is working about the cost marketing. Cost marketing is that if you market your product on the back of the social value. On the back of the social value, here I can take one example because of me, I know that, the crime, the child relation use. So if you say that you are buying a newspaper and 10 paise of the newspaper or the 10% of your price goes to price, that does make a difference. That does make a difference. New York Times had made a very good effort that made the rehabilitation of the Liberty Statue. For rehabilitation of the Liberty Statue, 1/7 of the New York Times used to go to the Liberty Statue, and so many Americans just started buying them. They started buying the newspaper. But here I don't know whether that kind of any moment is there. But that moment is there, obviously there is one of the good moments to generate the social value of the customer. And the other issue is that about the share value. This is what I have already talked about in the in the next slide, this is the taxonomy, the categorization of the value, customer value. If you are having a high value of the customer, and you think you are providing a very high services to the customer, obviously you think you are getting a patronage. You get a patronage because you provide more than the required services to a customer. So that you think your value rating goes high, and at the same time, the customer's perception goes very high. And that is a patronage visit. There is coming to the patronage qualifiers where you see the customer service may be lower, particularly you see like we are talking about the suggestion selling, we are talking about the courtesy building. We will say that if somebody has given the space, but if it doesn't create much of the value. But if it just is qualified, saying that if there's something in your mind, you might be thinking about that particular brand, and that brand gets some space in your entire analysis. Then coming to the other issue about the value of customer value and the cost of offering. And if our cost of offering is quite high, but if the customer value is low, then probably both the parties are going to get disappointed. They corporate, at the same time, the customers who are going to use them may have been. Then you see we will be discussing about one of the value issues that the administration factors. One is that about the customer relationship. How do we develop a customer relationship to enhance the customer value? The important issue is that unless we develop a customer value, we cannot really retain a customer. And thinking that the customer comes to the shop or customer comes to buy your services automatically is the wrong notion. If the company is succeeding by this notion temporarily, obviously I don't find that if the companies have a bright future over the years. So, the issue here is that customer relationship has to be. It doesn't mean that it is selfless. The selfless is that the company is not really looking for a customer to buy its product, but to know about the company, to know about the brand, to know about its association with the customer, that builds the relationship. Now, I will be talking about the BMW X Factor. As we talk about the BMW X Factor, the BMW X Factor is very common in the United States, Canada, and Latin America. In this, what they are going to do, they are going to have different factors, X1, X2, X3, X4, and X5. The moment what happens that you enter into the BMW showroom, though curiously you may enter. But the thing is that you might not be having any idea to buy a BMW car. But the moment you enter the showroom, they are going to provide you a good reception. they are going to take note of a couple of basic data from you, not the sensitive information, very basic information, and they are going to post the relationship card probably on every occasion. And this goes on for about 1 year. And they don't mind if after 1 year if the customer refuses that card. So the customer doesn't turn back to the BMW showroom, but the BMW thinking is that whoever comes in, he has some remote sense towards the brand, remote sense towards the quality, remote sense towards its curiousness about buying this particular product, and therefore they would like to catch them, but they would not like to catch them randomly. They would like to build a value in his mind over a period of time so that he himself can realize, he can develop a self-reference criteria. The self-reference criteria of the SRC is one of the basic tools to measure that will be how strong is the value of the customer association, any brand or any product. Now basically go to this link. Now, there's the expensive situation. When you go to the expensive situation, I will say expensive programs are built on the data mining. They have the data mining, and in that data mining particularly, you see, they have a database, and they buy customer database. And now, if they are having customer information, and then you see they are going to act on that. But you see, they are not going to send randomly to anybody, but they are going to send to those people who have a basic information towards their product. Go ahead, guys. Go ahead. Yes, and that's a special initiative. Particularly, you see, you are talking about the loyalty, prospect program. Now, you see, here there are many things like giving a tested program, different categories of that. And in these different categories, the one important issue is that how can you build the value building is that is one is like collaborative customization by adaptive customization. Collaborative customization is that it is sitting with the customer to know exactly what you want and to develop a congruence that you see what the company is having and how best the customer's needs can be satisfied with that. And that is about the collaboration. But the adaptive customization is that you see, give a product free of give a product to a customer for a free trial. I will give you one good example. In England, when I was there, even now, there is a catalog shop, a chain of catalog shops called Argos. The Argos catalog shop, there is something like you see the telephone directory in which you see you will be finding all the different products of the Argos with the code number, labels and everything. They will be having the contact numbers and the lots of areas where they are going to deal with. Now the beauty of this particular chain shop is that they give you 16 days trial. Even if you are going to buy a video camera, you can order for that video camera and you can take out the video camera, you can use it for 16 days, and if you feel that this camera is not worth buying, you can just go to the client services and return it. They are not going to ask you a single question, they will drive you or return. No arguments, they are going to return back to you the entire time. There is no exchange. Otherwise, if they exchange, the customer feels that he is being pressurized to buy another product at the same time. Secondly, they say, we don't want it. Take that. Many times it does happen, there's so many Asians when they know about this Argos, they go to the Argos and they use their product for a good number of days and after that they return. This generally happens with photo camera. So if somebody goes as on excursion to England and as they know about the Argos, they buy, they move around the places. They go to the Westminster, they go to the Thames River, they go to the London Bridge, they go to the Piccadilly, and then you see they have different photographs, and architects they say goodbye Argos, I didn't like this, and then you think they get that judgment. So you see, in their calculation, this may be about 5%. But 95% is that if the customer feels satisfied, they are going to take it, and they have more faith in Argos because the Argos gives them the customized, the adaptive customization, whereas the customer feels involved with the product, and he has always a security that if he can go into the next time. There is marketing there. And particularly, you see, I found that this type of industry in retailing is also there in Bangkok. But unfortunately, I have not come across any shop in India which really agrees that you say, well, without questioning, I'm going to take it back and I'm going to give you the total refund of money without surprising you to go for an exchange. So this is one thing where you see you build a value. You build a value. Then the another. Now this is about the women's program. Where you see they have different activities for the women. There's also excellent factor. There's previously one program like this. If you are, no. The important issue is that even if you buy one BMW car, they say there will be two BMW cars in one family. Now, that is the purpose. In the sense that the one BMW car you have to change and run it. That is not the case. But here, if you are going to buy from any car dealer, what kind of incentive, what kind of relationship you are going to build? I wonder that really we do have that kind of that kind of concept in our retailing in India. But in Western countries, if you are going to buy a car, obviously you are going to be treated as one of the bona fide partners. They say that the customer is an associate in the business. They never say that the customer is just an entity who comes to the doorstep of a shopkeeper, looks for a franchise, and after that you say he disappears. There is the matter. But in Western countries, the matter continues. There is only this. So, there is one of the basic values. Then the other one is about the X3 series. When they launched the X3 series, then obviously this was also one of the factors of the X3 factor, the Series 7 launch. Now, these are many different issues associated with the customer value. Now, can we go back? We talk about the conversion. What exactly is the conversion? There is a different marketing stream come out that the MBS are being now offered in Western countries, particularly in the University of North Carolina and the University of Florida. The convergence marketing. What exactly is the convergence marketing? The convergence marketing has come out because of the customer's interest in the virtual shopping and the internet. Mostly you go for internet, obviously you see the customer can reference all the influencers gather at one point to really focus on the value of the product to enhance the customer perception. And that is the convergence factor. And this convergence is that you see that there is one-to-one relationship. And here is the manufacturer to customer. Manufacturer to customer is probably here, if I rightly remember, Eureka Force. In a Eureka Force, you will not find any kind of dealer. However, you see straight away, during my time when I was here, that time I don't know, you may have to correct me here, that the Eureka Force still is having a direct selling system. Right, you see, in Western countries, particularly you see in United States, Canada, and Mexico, and the other Latin American countries, the laptop of the Dell computer, they do not have the franchises, they do not have retailers, they do not believe in any kind of distribution system. They always say that it's a one-to-one relationship. There is another very good company which is called as Medicare Hospital. This is actually founded by Medicare Ash. long back in 1904. And these leaders, even if you want to sell cosmetics, there is no need to go to the retail store. You can sell the cosmetics, our branded international quality cosmetics, to your neighbors. This is a direct relationship just from the manufacturer to the customer. This direct relationship is that in between you are putting an added channel, and that channel is probably the distributor, retailer. It depends upon how long that particular intermediary channel is there. And that is a strategic network. And it's most important, if you look at the endorsed value, the endorsed value is particularly about the rebate. If you can go to the rebate stage, then we have the main customer, but you see, who talks about my product? You see, my restaurant talks about my product, and their restaurant, that is the hustlers, who talk about the content. And in that content, particularly, you see, they talk about what exactly is the attention, their interest, their desire, their action. They talk about that. This is also called as a principle in management called IDEA principle. There is the attention, interest, desire, and action. Then you see about the information. The important issue is about the main competitor. I don't know that you see how many engineers are really very, very open about talking about their competitors. You know, we have talked about that my product is good, but why your product is good. As we talk about the competitors' resources, there is one very good book by Leon Fahey. It's called The Competitors, Outwitting, Outmaneuvering, Outperforming. How really you can do that? You need to understand the signals. You need to cooperate with the competitors to make them out of sync. And for that, the important issue is that we have to look back to the main competitor, because if you talk about your competitors, and if you place yourself fairly enough before the customer saying that my product is better than any other product, then obviously the customer is going to think of why really he has to choose your product. And that enhances his value. Otherwise, if on the back of the mind, always customer will be having this, because we are the corporate people. And therefore, we want to push our product, and therefore the customer is going to be trapped. But this trapping is not exactly a factor that is associated with any kind of value with the customer. So, this is about the convention for the next lecture. Let us see about the transaction. And in this transaction, we have to talk about one of the factors which is not existing, and where exactly we are filling the product. In a sense, if I have a latent demand saying that I need a shoe that it's really, if I bought, I should really jump. So this is my latent demand. But we have to see what is existing and what is not existing. And what kind of factors are associated with making a conversion in the transaction between the customer's perception and the corporate prescription. Then coming to another issue is about, these are a couple of issues where the customer feels more value probably, but I wonder that about the Indian case, how many of we are really having very comfortable situation in buying through the internet. Because in buying through the internet, though we say that we have so many things, even I don't know how many people are really comfortable in buying the internet tickets. Maybe for the air tickets, maybe for the theater tickets, or maybe for some other tickets. The issue is that the major issue is that how to build it trust. If you're really building a trust, and if you bank on your trust for all your transactions, then it makes a difference that even the virtual shopping has a very good conversion. Then you think coming to the trends and strategies, what exactly is different. Sometimes the thing is associated with also the fashion, the value. Because things people are doing, therefore we should also do, but this is the values are sometimes not with our country, rather than maybe with the developed country. Then coming to the about entertainment. Now we say, how do you deliver the value? They have started a Rivers University. Rivers University is not recognized by any WCSB or by any European management board. But the issue is that if you say Rivers University, it does make a difference. It does make a difference because you see, in this particular web page or in this particular site, you are going to educate the customer that if he is going to use the product, what factors are really, therefore we say that the market segmentation may be from mass to class. It is easy to bring, class to mass. It is easy to bring from a very premier segment to a mass segment, but sometimes it is difficult to upgrade the market segmentation from a mass segment to a class segment because class always wants to live in a unique situation. They say, well, I have seen when I was here in India, at that time, sometimes I had gone to just look at some toothpieces. So there would be when I had gone to Raymond, they told there would be why are you looking for these toothpieces from whatever we have displayed? I am going to get you from my godown a specific toothpaste which is an exclusive 3-piece toothpaste. What does it mean? Exclusive in the sense I feel if I buy it, paying 3 times the normal toothpaste price, saying that I feel myself that you say I'm a unique gentleman. Because if I'm using that, if I'm wearing that, I feel that out of 1 billion people, nobody is having this particular toothpaste, therefore I'm having. So now, that is what is the feeling, what you generate, what you get. And many times this is called as a USP, unique selling proposition. If we make this unique selling proposition also very strong, sometimes this really makes a dent in the mind of the consumers to say that you say, should they go for this particular brand, should they go for this particular product? Then they go for it. So very technical factor, most of the engineers, most of the marketing managers, they study in their very highly calculated exercises, that is what we call finding the variation. The sigma is nothing but finding the variation. What we call sigma is denoted for particularly standard deviation. The standard deviation is divided by the mean that you get for a coefficient of variation. So now here, the important issue is what kind of factors are associated where you can measure the variation. Now these are the factors associated with sigmas are very, very positive factors, very important factors particularly to measure the customer value in global environment. And here, the one is that you see to measure the delight customer, particularly about the quality, the speed. The speed is that you see time factor. Everybody wants a quick response. Response delayed is response denied. I sometimes it does happen response hurried is response delayed. So if the response is hurried, probably the response may not be very effective, and if you are going to send a correction after sending a response, consumer feels that you say no, the company is not very effective. So therefore, the response hurried is response buried, and response denied is response delayed is response denied. So we have to strike a balance in our entire speed of communication with the customers to see that the value gets intact into the entire transaction. So you see the improved process, particularly the variation and defect. We have a few of these defects. Starting from eliminating costs. Actually, you see, we need not build a brand, we need to build the entire architecture in such a way that you start eliminating the defects. Once you start eliminating the defects, obviously you find a very clean depth for the customers to get it. And that is about the eliminating the defects and minimizing the variation. Process flow, the teamwork. In the teamwork, basically, the very important issue is that if you give a free hand to the salespeople, they give you a free hand to the product managers, obviously they are going. I think there is most of you being a corporate manager might have seen because of these I have been told that the SMA also organizes many of the programs, particularly the refresher courses in management. So in team building, there is a principle called, how do you really develop a team? That is, there are 4 factors associated with the team. Probably, you see. The forming, then solving, knowing, and performing. So the forming is that you give them the free hand to form. After that, you allow them to really break the ice, and after the ice breaking, let them have a non-natural description of what exactly they have to do, and then come back to the performance factor. So therefore, the team building has its own major factors, like probably all of you may be knowing about, the forming, solving, knowing, and performing. Simply about the data management. Now, how do you get the data? There is a sanctity in getting the data. I don't know that many times it does happen that you will suddenly get a mail, either a traditional mail or an email, saying that well, this is our product and we registered you for our product and we would like to know your reaction about that. You get surprised that how this company came to know about my product. And here, probably many times it does happen that the customer databases are stolen. And I wonder that how it happens, because in the United States and Canada and in Mexico, there is very strong regulation for protecting the customer information and the customer privacy. And many times what happens, I found that in some of the Asian countries, the credit card companies, they start selling the databases. But though you see there has been no proof, there has been no evidence. But you see, well, this is one of the hunch that the critics have been explained. That the companies get the customer database from the companies, which is not really legal, or which is not really the correct. Then another important issue is about the elimination of variations, as I told you. Then if we come into the critical to this quality, CTQ is very important issue. Because what exactly we want to convey, Let us not roam around the territory of our entire values, but let us focus on the core of our values, and that is called critical to this quality. Team functions are already talked about, data sets and needs here. The very important issue is the needs, particularly. The work in progress and the average completion rate. If you divide work in progress by the average completion rate, you are going to get a ratio, and that ratio will tell you whether really you are, whatever the promise you are going to make to the customer, that promise really stands on time or not. Because time is not a factor. I will tell you, whether you say there is a Pareto principle, probably you see a couple of times just knowing about this and also law Pareto. And law Pareto is that the 20% of the customers contribute to the 80% of the success of the company. But on the other hand, I will interpret this in a different way. I will say that 80% of the time of the customers will be allocated for 20% of the corporation. So in the sense, though the customer may not be having enough time, he may kill flies at his own. But still, he will say, I don't have time. If customer says, I don't have time, then you can't say that. We can't ask you what really you are going to do. No. He has no time. So you have to manage your entire values within the available time with the customer. And then coming to the value, the perceived value and prescribed value. The perceived value is higher of a customer than the prescribed value. That really gives a lead to lifetime management of the customer. Then you see the other issue is that about the critical issue, particularly is the due time of delivery, during the time. In other words, the time is a factor. If I want today, I want today. I can't wait for tomorrow. The issue here is that in the Western countries, particularly right from England, you go to any other country, even in Japan, I found that most of the retailing is now shifted to auto service stores. In the auto service stores, what happens is there is a concept that has emerged as touch, feel and pick. Touch, feel and pick is that all the things are displayed in front of you. If not this brand, another brand. You read, you compare, whether this particular product is compatible with what is in your mind. If it is compatible, you never look for a brand. Where the company will go. So therefore, the important issue here is that the leaving the shelf open is one of the awful strategies for the company. So the shelf should be packed always so that the customer never breaks his entire eye trust. He just goes for your product. If he thinks of your product, he gets your product. If he thinks of your product and your product is not available, then he never thinks of your product. So this is one very important. It's not, I found here in yesterday, I don't know how many auto service shops we do have. I feel that if you still a large population, large percentage of the population is still depending on the retailers. And we just tell them that we look like that. What happens is we will get a list from our family saying that the wife may give us a list saying that these are the items on the first of the month we have to get it. We just go and deliver them. So the retailer takes it off. And sometimes if the brand is not available, it's going to substitute another brand without taking consent. Will be in certain countries. When you see all the brands are available in front of you, you are the person to decide should you go for that or should you go for the another one, and that makes a very impulsive mind decision as tax feeling. And then acceptability, particularly you see the value added process, and then you see the value added process, what happens when you see we are going to provide any incentive to the customer, and that adds to the value of the customer. The incentive is really what the consumer feels that he can get along with the product. Otherwise, if we just say that it is like a voucher, and the gift voucher is again you have to take something like what we call it a sweepstakes. Sweepstakes is nothing but a matter of chance. And that matter of chance doesn't give any value to the customer. So, the important issue here is that if the customer really, we want that you see the customer to build the value, we have to provide him a larger platform to think, to analyze, and to build certain prescriptions for himself which develop his self-preference criterion to establish the brand of himself. These are a couple of issues. Though you see, I have some more slides which talks about the gap analysis, how we need to develop a gap. The gap is about the customer to manufacturer to customer, customer to supplier to customer, customer to customer, and customer to restaurant. This is a very big model called a gap model, which forms the values of the customer, which affects the values of the customer. Captain Veeresh, should I conclude or should I conclude? Okay, fine. I think that in brief, as I told you about the GAPS model, this is about the GAPS model, and anyway, I will be providing the slides on CD, and if a couple of you want, then probably you may contact Captain Veeresh to look for the material, the teaching material, and there are many more issues if you are really looking for the customer value. How to make customer values have to be established. There are many good books to be read, but only by reading you are going to get a concept, but you see by really making some application, you are going to get an applied sense of it. And I feel that if in some cases, like if you look at the Harvard cases, they are the true cases that provide you the success stories that you see how the values help the companies to grow. If you ignore customers, or if the customers are just for a momentary gain, probably the companies are not going to sustain for a long time in the competition. But just I take care of you. I hope that you have really got some insights about this session, and I open it for question and answer if you have them quickly. Probably a time limit is up.